The planet Valkyr Prime was a hellscape, a world where the laws of nature seemed to conspire against all life. Massive storms raged across the surface, tearing apart everything in their path. Towering mountains, taller than any on Earth, shifted and groaned, occasionally shaking loose giant boulders the size of cities. The wildlife was just as deadly. Creatures with scales tough as armor, claws that could shred steel, and venomous fangs that could kill a man in seconds. For centuries, Valkyr Prime had been deemed uninhabitable by every race in the galaxy. Attempts to colonize it had failed. Each expedition met with brutal destruction. No one had ever lasted more than a few weeks before the planet's savage environment and its monstrous wildlife claimed them. But then something changed. A race of beings known across the stars as Deathworlders arrived. The Deathworlders were humans, people from Earth, a planet considered a death world by many in the galaxy. Earth was a place where the laws of survival were harsh, where life could and would kill you at any moment. The animals were aggressive, the weather unpredictable, and humanity fought, troubled, and survived despite the odds. They were, by nature, survivors. When the humans arrived on Valkyr Prime, it was not to colonize or tame the land. No, they had a mission, one of exploration, survival, and ultimately proving the unthinkable. They would survive where others had failed. At first, the native inhabitants of Valkyr Prime, the few sentient species that remained, watched in disbelief. They had seen countless species come to the planet, all with the same arrogance. They thought they could conquer the world. And yet, each one fell. The storms tore them apart. The creatures hunted them down. No one could last. The Deathworlders, however, were different. From the moment they set foot on the planet's surface, they seemed almost at home. The extreme gravity, the poisonous air, the vicious creatures, all of it was a challenge they relished. They didn't just survive, they adapted. Captain Alyssa Hayes, the leader of the human expedition, was the first to encounter the Valkyrian beasts. Towering creatures with skin like molten rock, the beasts were notorious for their savagery. Most species would have run at the first sight of them, but not the Deathworlders. Alyssa stared down the massive creature as it bellowed and charged at her. In a split second, she drew a sleek, energy-based weapon, a rifle built for combat on her homeworld. She fired once, striking the creature's face. The beast reeled back, stunned but still alive. Alyssa moved forward, unflinching, and fired again. This time, the creature collapsed in a heap. The native Valkyrians, watching from a distance, could hardly believe their eyes. The humans had not only stood their ground against the beast, but they had killed it with ease. It was a feat that would have been impossible for any other species on this planet. Yet the Deathworlders acted as if it were nothing more than an inconvenience. Days turned into weeks, and the humans pushed deeper into Valkyr Prime. They established a small, fortified base not far from the wreckage of a long-forgotten expedition that had met its end years ago. The storms howled outside, and the beasts prowled, but inside their base, the humans worked tirelessly to adapt. They built shelters that could withstand the wind, developed ways to filter the poisonous air, and created tools to hunt and defend themselves against the dangers of this hostile world. One day, as Alyssa was scanning the horizon, she saw movement. A massive swarm of insects, unlike anything she had ever seen, was heading straight for the base. The creatures were the size of dogs, with razor-sharp mandibles and wings that could slice through metal. The Valkyrians, terrified, fled as the insects descended on the planet. They knew that no one could survive an attack like this, but the humans were not afraid. They quickly formulated a plan to fight back. Alyssa and her team mounted an offensive, using their advanced weaponry and tactics to destroy the swarming creatures. The battle was fierce, with the humans taking down wave after wave of insects, but they were relentless. It was only when they managed to target the queen insect and destroy it that the swarm dispersed. The Valkyrians, who had been watching from the safety of their hidden caves, couldn't believe what they had witnessed. These humans, these Deathworlders, had not only survived on a planet that no one else could, but they had conquered it. They had faced down the planet's deadliest creatures, fought off swarms of insects, and endured the harshest conditions imaginable. and they had done it all without a hint of fear. In the weeks that followed, the Valkorians, who had always been a proud and independent race, began to take notice of the humans in a different light. They had long believed that survival on Valkor Prime was impossible, that no one could ever live here. Yet these humans had done the unthinkable, and in doing so, they had earned the respect of the Valkorian people. The Deathworlders didn't come to conquer. They came to survive, to prove that no matter how brutal the universe might be, there was always a way to overcome it. And now, Valkor Prime would be known for something new. It would be the home of the Deathworlders, the humans who survived where no one else could. And for the first time in centuries, the planet no longer felt like a death trap. It felt like a place where life could thrive again.